10 rules of Japanese minimalism that made me happier. Welcome back to our channel. If you've ever walked into a Japanese home or seen pictures of those beautiful, simple spaces, you've probably noticed something amazing. There's this incredible sense of peace and calm that just washes over you. It's not magic, though it might feel like it. It's actually the result of following some very specific principles that the Japanese have been practicing for centuries. Japanese minimalism isn't just about having empty rooms or throwing away all your belongings. It's actually a whole philosophy about living with intention and finding joy in simplicity. When we first started learning about these principles, we were honestly a bit skeptical. How could having less stuff actually make us happier? But after trying these 10 rules for ourselves, we can honestly say our lives have completely transformed. What makes Japanese minimalism different from other approaches is that it's not about following strict rules or feeling guilty about what you own. Instead, it's about creating a life that truly reflects what matters most to you. Today, we're sharing the 10 most powerful rules that have made the biggest difference in our daily happiness and peace of mind. Rule number 1, start with your mind, not your space. Here's something that surprised us when we first started learning about Japanese minimalism. Most people think it begins with cleaning out closets or organizing drawers, but the Japanese approach starts somewhere completely different. It starts with your mindset and understanding what truly brings you joy. Before you touch a single item in your home, you need to spend time thinking about what kind of life you actually want to live. This isn't about following someone else's idea of what minimalism should look like. It's about getting really honest with yourself about what makes you feel happy and fulfilled. We spent a whole week just thinking about this before we moved or organized anything. We asked ourselves questions like, what activities make us feel most alive? What objects in our home actually serve a purpose or bring us genuine happiness? When do we feel most stressed or overwhelmed in our living space? This mental preparation completely changed how we approached the whole process. Instead of just randomly getting rid of things, we had a clear vision of what we were working toward. The Japanese call this approach kokoro wo karakusuru, which means to empty the heart first. When your mind is clear about what you want, the physical changes become so much easier and more meaningful. Rule number 2, quality over quantity always wins. This rule completely changed how we think about shopping and the things we bring into our home. Japanese minimalism teaches us that it's much better to have a few really great things than a bunch of okay things. This applies to absolutely everything, from the clothes in your closet to the tools in your kitchen. Think about it this way. Would you rather have 10 cheap t-shirts that lose their shape after a few washes, or 3 really well-made shirts that look great and last for years? The Japanese have mastered this concept, and it shows in everything they create. Their philosophy is that when you invest in quality items, you actually save money in the long run because you're not constantly replacing things. We started applying this rule by looking at items we use every single day. Our coffee maker, for example, was this cheap plastic thing that made terrible coffee and broke after just 6 months. We replaced it with one beautiful, well-made coffee maker that we absolutely love using every morning. Yes, it cost more upfront, but now our morning routine feels special instead of frustrating. The beautiful thing about focusing on quality is that you end up with less stuff. When everything you own is something you truly love and use regularly, you don't need as much. Plus, your space starts to feel more intentional and peaceful because everything in it has been chosen with care. Rule number 3, everything needs a purpose and a place. One of the most practical rules we learned is that everything in your home should have both a clear purpose and a specific place where it belongs. This might sound obvious, but when we really looked around our home with this lens, we were shocked at how many things were just sitting around without any real reason for being there. The Japanese approach this with something called mano no basho, which means a place for things. Every single item should earn its spot in your home by either serving a practical function or bringing you genuine joy. If something doesn't meet one of these criteria, it probably doesn't need to be there. We went through our home room by room and asked ourselves, do we actually use this? Does it serve a real purpose in our daily life? If we kept it, where would be the most logical and convenient place for it to live? This process helped us realize we had duplicate items, broken things we kept meaning to fix, and random objects that served no purpose at all. Creating designated homes for everything also made our daily routines so much smoother. We no longer spend time searching for keys, important papers, or basic tools because everything has its own spot. When you finish using something, it goes right back to its home. This simple system has eliminated so much daily stress and made our space feel calm and organized all the time. Rule number 4, embrace empty space as a feature. This was probably the hardest rule for us to understand at first. In many cultures, we're taught that empty space means something is missing or incomplete. But Japanese minimalism teaches us that empty space, called ma, is actually one of the most valuable features you can have in your home. Empty space gives your mind room to breathe and relax. When every surface is covered with objects and every wall is filled with decorations, your brain has to process all of that visual information constantly. It's actually quite exhausting, even though we don't always realize it's happening. We started small by clearing off just one surface in our living room. At first, it felt weird and empty, like something was missing. But after a few days, we noticed that this space had become our favorite spot to look at. It felt calm and peaceful in a way that the cluttered areas didn't. Now we actively create and protect empty spaces throughout our home. We have clear countertops, walls with just 1 or 2 meaningful pieces of art, and surfaces that aren't covered with random objects. These spaces have become like visual rest stops for our minds. When we walk into a room, our eyes can actually relax instead of jumping from thing to thing trying to take everything in. Rule number 5, choose natural materials and colors. The materials and colors in your space have a huge impact on how you feel, even if you don't consciously notice it. Japanese minimalism favors natural materials like wood, bamboo, cotton, and stone, along with neutral colors that create a sense of calm and connection to nature. When we started paying attention to this, we realized our home was full of plastic, synthetic materials, and bright colors that actually made us feel more anxious and restless. We began slowly replacing items with natural alternatives whenever something needed to be replaced anyway. We switched to wooden cutting boards instead of plastic ones, cotton towels instead of synthetic blends, and chose furniture made from real wood rather than particle board with plastic coating. The difference in how these materials feel and even smell is remarkable. Natural materials have textures and warmth that synthetic ones just can't match. For colors, we moved toward whites, creams, soft grays, and warm wood tones. This doesn't mean everything has to be beige and boring. Natural colors are actually incredibly varied and beautiful. Think about the colors you see in nature. They're subtle but rich, and they work together harmoniously. Our space now feels like a peaceful retreat instead of a stimulating environment that keeps our mind busy all the time. Rule number 6, practice mindful consumption. This rule is about completely changing your relationship with buying new things. Instead of shopping impulsively or buying things just because they're on sale, Japanese minimalism teaches us to be really thoughtful about every single purchase we make. Before buying anything new, we now ask ourselves several important questions. Do we actually need this, or do we just want it? Will this item add real value to our daily life? Do we already have something that serves the same purpose? Where will this item live in our home? How often will we realistically use it? We also started practicing something called the 24-hour rule. Whenever we want to buy something that isn't an absolute necessity, we wait at least 24 hours before making the purchase. You'd be amazed at how often we completely forget about things we thought we really wanted after just one day. This mindful approach has saved us so much money and prevented our home from getting cluttered again. But more importantly, it's helped us understand the difference between things we actually need and things we think we need because of advertising or social pressure. When we do buy something now, it's always intentional, and we truly appreciate and use whatever we've chosen to bring into our space. Rule number 7, create daily rituals around simple activities. One of the most beautiful aspects of Japanese minimalism is how it transforms everyday activities into mindful, enjoyable rituals. Instead of rushing through daily tasks, you learn to slow down and find peace in simple activities like making tea, preparing meals, or organizing your space. The Japanese have a concept called Ichigo Ichie, which means one time, one meeting.
It's about treating each moment as unique and special, even if it's something you do every day. When you approach daily activities with this mindset, routine tasks become opportunities for mindfulness and calm. We started with just one daily activity to transform into a ritual. We chose our morning coffee routine. Instead of quickly gulping down coffee while checking our phones, we now take time to grind the beans mindfully, pay attention to the smell and sound, and actually sit down to enjoy our coffee without distractions. This simple change set a completely different tone for our entire day. We felt more centered and peaceful, and we realized we had been missing out on these small moments of pleasure that were available to us every day. Now we have little rituals around cleaning, cooking, and even getting ready for bed. These moments have become some of the most satisfying parts of our day. Rule number 8, let go of things that carry negative energy. This rule goes deeper than just physical clutter. Japanese minimalism